My friends, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. First things first, number one, some of you guys were requesting me to do it in 1080p. So I don't know. My screen is one of those, widescreen ones or whatever. And whenever I go into the settings on the video, it's already locked into that 3440 by 1440. So I'm always happy to do whatever I can to try to make this video quality better for you guys. Hopefully this did the trick. But of course, let me know in the comments. I appreciate the feedback and I appreciate the criticism, so long as it's always constructive. Of course, let's just treat each other with respect. Also, having said that, please like and subscribe. Do all the normal YouTube stuff. Follow me on Twitter, Colin_Gladman. That's always going to be the easiest way to get updates if I feel like anything is really drastically changing throughout the day. If I go back here to the daily look on SPY, the reality is today was just another consolidation day. I mean, pretty much between 585 to 580 has been our range since Monday of last week, so for an entire week now. If I go to the hourly, I kind of like this ascending triangle look right in here. So it's just whether or not, we get a move outside that gets a retest and then we get a pop, or do we get anything that's a retest and then downside? I still favor over the next couple of weeks some downside looks. The reality is at one point earlier in the day, the market was overall very red. Definitely recovered the last few hours, but it's kind of one of those things that, we had an hour straight down and then it took 5 hours just to kind of get back to where we were, right? So it's kind of the stairs up, elevator down. So I still overall am favoring downside. Where that would change is if we start getting some daily closes above that 585 level. Ultimately, I would still love to see kind of this common gap taken out at 567. Plus, just with earnings and the election that's coming up, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. So typically that'll breed downside. But if we can kind of even see here if we come up here, I can tell you right now, if we see 585 tomorrow, that was the number that I was really hoping for today, and we got within 15 cents of it. And I missed my entry. I was going to grab puts at 585, and then I watch it go from 584.85 all the way down to freaking 580 in the next hour. Would have just been an insane play, but is what it is, right? Missed an entry, but if we get anywhere up here tomorrow, this is what I'm going to be looking for. Kind of, are we going to get a sort of head and shoulder look that starts to roll over a little bit, and then of course you start getting on top of 585. Well, then you're in price exploration territory and looking at some type of potential move up like that. So overall, the range is what it is. That's what I'm going to be watching, that 585 to 580. You really start getting a daily close below 580, I'll start feeling good about further downside, and would still, like I said, that common gap taken care of down here at 567.80. On QQQ, held up much better, was the best performing index today, and that's probably largely because Nvidia was just going insane again. Same thing on its daily consolidation. Realistically, we've been consolidating since Tuesday of this past week, so that 497 to 490 is the range that I'm really watching on QQQ. So I missed my SPY entry, but I got it on QQQ. Had a real nice like 45% put play right here. And then I posted this one on Twitter as well. I was watching kind of this rising wedge walkout. And then on this, look here on these two 5-minute candles, I grabbed some puts here today. And unfortunately, once it came back here, retested these previous highs from earlier in the day, right around on Monday. Then, of course, we got that insane rally towards the end of the day. Wound up cutting those for a 20% loss, but with the new small account I started, still up like $1,400 on the day. So overall, can't complain. Losses are part of the game. So kind of same thing, would be looking for up here in this supply zone area on QQQ. Would really need to show some strength over that, but really the big level I'm watching for is back up here right around that 497 level. So it's chilling up here in supply as of right now. IWM really looked the worst of today. Now, from the past week, it was one of the outperformers. So for it to see it get crushed the hardest, but this reality is this 228 to 225 heavy daily supply area. We consolidated, and what I always say is anytime you get that consolidation, once you get the break, you're typically going to get a move, and you're going to get a move in a large direction. And that's what happened, unfortunately, on IWM today. So really want to see it come back down here to around 218 to 220. And then you certainly would want to see that area act as support. Definitely don't want to lose 218 again, right? That's been a huge battleground area. Don't want to start looking bad below that, but I would be watching this kind of upwards trend line right in here. As far as Tesla goes, haven't been trading it. Honestly, really haven't been paying attention to it at all. And I mean, just look at these daily candles, people, right? This should tell you why. This is just not a great tradable range or zone, in my opinion, for Tesla. They have earnings Wednesday after the bell. Once, so now we'll be past delivery numbers, we'll be past earnings, we'll be past robo-taxi event. I think it'll be a great tradable stock again once we know just a little bit more come earnings Wednesday after the bell. But like I said in my last video, it's probably coming down towards 190 or back up towards the all-time high trend line around that 230 to 240 post earnings. So, and I'll probably do an update video around then. For coin, it did close above 212 today, so I do like that. It did print a bearish inside bar today. The volume was not increasing over what we saw on Friday, so I like that it's holding its key level, but and it held this retest from back over here from its highs in August. However, this is a bearish inside bar, so if we start to lose 208, I still think the most likely thing for coin is to come down here to around that 180 level that I talked about in the last video, which is also the 618 plus this little gap up imbalance right in here. I would be surprised if that doesn't get taken care of, but obviously keep your eye on crypto. For Nvidia, not much to say other than it had a massive day today. Sorry guys, I've been sick. I'm really trying hard not to cough your head off. But Nvidia had a breakout today, so had an inside bar on Friday, and then this is kind of what I'm talking about on inside bars. So just the opposite of IWM, right? Nvidia had some consolidation and had its big breakout. It's closed above its all-time highs, so it's really kind of in price exploration territory. It's got earnings, but those earnings are always typically some of the last ones. So right now, one of the ranges that I would be paying attention to the most is this one right in here. So certainly could make a case for it to continue on up towards around that 146 if the market is strong. Now, the only other thing I would say about Nvidia is sometimes, very similar to Tesla, anytime it has one of those really big days, for instance, like this right back over here. So really big day, and then just kind of a nothing burger, a little bit of consolidation afterwards. So certainly could continue, but very much similar to here, right? Big, huge day, overall, somewhat consolidation. So just keep your eye out for that. Full disclosure, I did grab puts up at around 141 today once it got up here towards its previous all-time highs, and obviously those got smoked pretty good. So it's just super, super strong right now, and it's a runaway freight train. Nothing else to say about that. In a perfect world, potentially you could see some type of retest back down in here into this 140 area before curling. I'm so sorry, guys. With MU, so just the concerning thing I would say about the chips overall, not necessarily concerning day, but when you have a day like what Nvidia does, and then all the other chips really do nothing. But MU did hold that 107 level that I talked about, but I still think potentially we could come down here to the 104 range, down to 102, key psychological level right around that 100, obviously if the market is ugly. TSM, I talked about the high volume shooting star. Friday, you got a follow-up candle. This, to me, overall says on TSM, just kind of another pause in the trend. I still am expecting downside on TSM. AMD did get its 921 daily cross down. It is also still well under its kind of that bull flag. I talked about in my last video, sort of this fake out look, and then it comes all the way down. I still, volume did uptick a little bit on AMD today, but my honest opinion is if Nvidia didn't have the day that it did, AMD would have looked relatively ugly. So potential retest up in here to around that 160 and sort of wait and see what happens there. Amazon had the breakout on Friday of the little bull flag that I talked about here. Another nice little follow-up day here. You are getting stuck in that supply zone, right, that I talked about. So if I extend that out a little bit more, I like the fact that it's above this 187 level, but you are still getting caught up in this daily supply. However, I do think Amazon could potentially put in a day, just like what Nvidia did, if the market is really good, where it just has that real nice move up towards around 195. So if Amazon starts looking really good out of this daily supply, watch that on your lower time frames. I think Amazon can absolutely push on up towards 195. I still think it's going to be one of the ones that does well come earnings season. Yeah, I like it. This looks very reaccumulative to me. I think Amazon is going to have a nice run into the end of the year. Celsius, this is one that I talked about on, I think on Thursday of last week was when my last video came out. Is that right? Pretty sure. Yeah, I think it was Thursday. And then Friday had a decent day. So still range bound. Still would be looking for something that takes out kind of this $30 level back down in here. Just below 30 would be an ideal entry for me. But as of right now, I am still watching kind of for this build out on this potential inverse head and shoulder look. A last one that a lot of people have been asking me about, like in my Discord lately, and on Twitter, is Victoria's Secret. And this is going to be a weekly look, okay? It's at a huge support resistance flip right here around this 30, because look at how much support it had. Let's see here, going back from June of 2022 really until May of 2023, so basically an entire year of support it built out, and then when it first came back up, retested, rejected, but now it sounds like Victoria's Secret is, well, they're getting back to what they do. They decided like, oh, hey, maybe dressing a bunch of dudes up in women's underwear wasn't the best thing for our business, and you're seeing the recovery. What I love about this weekly chart is it goes back to what I was talking about with Celsius. Remember with Celsius, I said I would love that sweep of kind of that left shoulder look to sort of take those people out, let these people think that they're going to get an entry back down here towards the double bottom area. And look at this. So you had this whole area that was kind of this left shoulder low look, and I'm not saying this is not the most beautiful inverse head and shoulder in any way, shape, or form, but you can see every time it dipped into that weekly demand zone, it got bought up. Then you have that 1 week that it closes below, and then the next week it gaps way down, but not back down here to these levels around that sort of 13, 14 level, and then it's just off to the races, right? So at this point in time, you would be wanting to see some weekly closes above this level back over in here, but it is a potential nice hold. And another thing is its weekly downtrend, right? Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4 points of contact. And now, and once again, it's early in the week, right? It's only Monday. But watch to see how this weekly candle builds out. I would say if you get a weekly close above 31, that overall to me would be signaling a breakout. Plus, I'm very positive that this has gone through an accumulation factor, right? Because down here at the lows, look at all the volume that has come in. So while it's being distributed, right, this is how you know, and I always say this is, accumulation is one of the most painful things. The reality is if you've been holding Victoria's, Secret, well, I guess it was Victoria's man's secret back over here. But if you've been holding this Victoria's Secret, since May of 2023, basically a year and a half, it's just been like, oh my gosh, are we ever going to get out of this range? It's been bouncing back and forth between $15 to $30, and now it's really on the verge of a nice weekly breakout. So keep that in mind on a super macro basis. These would be the levels I'd be looking at, but I would be very surprised if it doesn't come up and at least test this inverse golden pocket right here, which is around that $40 level. So potentially a really good mover. And like I said, this can be one of those things that you just grab a whole bunch of shares with. Just like what I did with Oklo here recently. I didn't really want to get involved in the option chain. because it just wasn't a stock I was familiar with trading, but it had a great setup. And now it's, well, shoot, I mean, it would have been up 100% from my entry, but I bought it like $10 and sold it 14.50, I think. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, and this thing still looks great, right? Look at the volume that's pouring in here. So I mean, to me, watch for any dips potentially if you do get any, right? And then sometimes things that just rocket upwards, they can rocket down. But I would say right now, 18's your big support resistance flip level. Any dips back towards 18, and this thing could really be a nice little dip buy, right? So any days that consolidate, kind of dip back in here, and then you kind of start pushing up, or just watch for some type of bull flag to build out. I mean, it'll be something, right? Could also just keep ripping. I know there's a lot of people in my Discord that hopes it just keeps ripping. Shout out to Bronx Viking, man. He put us on this trading setup, and this is where I got in right here, right on this. So you get something else like this, a bunch of just low volume consolidation inside bars that build up, and absolutely could get ready for that next move, especially if the nuclear sector stays hot. Anyway, hope this video was helpful to you. Please like and subscribe. Not financial advice. Trade your plan. Do what's best for yourself, your family, and your portfolio. Much love, and I'll catch you on the next update. Have a good one.